Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines, we have the religious leaders mobilizes for vaccination against poliomyelitis. For the international scene, South Africa eases health measures COVID-19. Welcome to our newsroom. In accordance with Article 12 and 21 of the rules of the procedure of the parliamentary institution, the Conference of Presidents, led by the President Mohamed Ali Mohamed, met this Wednesday, March 23, 2022 to decide on the transmissions of text pending to the Standing Committee. The government was represented by the Prime Minister Abdul Qadir Kamil Mohammed, the audience being composed of the Second Vice President, the Secretary Questor, the President of Political Group, the Presidents of Standing Committee, and the General Rapporteurs of the budget. Thus, 5 bills were transferred to the competent committee. These provisions are entitled Draft Law on the Transformations of the Djibouti Office for Development of Geothermal Energy, ODEG, into the Public Industrial and Commercial Establishment, Draft Law on the Organizations of the Secretary of State in charges of investment and private sectors and development, Draft Law on the Protection and Promotions of the Rights of the Disabled Person, Draft Law on the Ratifications of the Financing Agreement for the Djibouti Regional Economic Corridor Project, Draft Law on the Ratification of the Financing Agreement for the Djibouti Digital Foundation Project. And this time it is the Committee on Foreign Affairs which considered today the draft law on number ratifications of the studies of the International Center for Genetic Engineering and Biotechnology, the meeting which brought together members of the commissions and are non-members of the parliament, received the insights from the Ministers of Higher Education, Dr. Nabil Mohamed Ahmed, accompanied by the Director General of the CERD, Mr. Dr. Jaluddin. At the end of the discussions, the members of the committee gave a favorable opinion to the text studied for its transmissions in public session. The Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Robli Abdillah, chaired a training and information workshop on the importance of vaccination against poliomyelitis for the benefits of about 16 imam and religious leaders of the capital, organized as part of the promotions of vaccinations against polio. This training and information sessions was with the collaborations of the Ministry of Muslim Affairs and Waqf. The Minister of Health emphasized the crucial role of the religious leader in outreach to promote polio vaccinations in our communities. Indeed, the Minister held in high esteem the imam and the religious leaders for their daily actions to raise awareness of the population to the public health issue, especially in the Friday sermons. A refresher course on good family planning practices was held for about 13 midwives from different maternity hospitals in the country, organized with the valuable assistance of the International Organization for Migration. This training session is focused on long-term contraceptive methods on immediate post-partum family planning, not also the participation in this for the training of the midwives from the health services and the army and security forces, such as the Gendarmerie, Police, Djiboutian Army, the forces, and the Coast Guard, according to the head of the Mothers and Child Health Directorate, Ms. Fatouma Ali Abdallah. The objective of this meeting is to improve the management of family planning in an approach based on humanism, equity, and also a better proximity with the patient. Ms. Fatouma Ali emphasized that these efforts to establish best practices and improve the quality of family planning services contribute to the reductions of maternal mortality in Djibouti. On a working visit to Djibouti as part of the holding of the 17th session of the Joint Ministerial Committee, Djibouti and Yemen from 20 to 22, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Expatriate of the Republic of Yemen, Ahmed Awad bin Mubarak, was received this afternoon at the free zone of the PICA 23 by the President of the Ports and Free Zone Authority, Abu Bakr Omar Hadi. The minister also visited the ports infrastructure of the countries, and in particular those of the companies of the management of the Dorale Container Terminal, SGTD, the Dorale Multipurpose Port, and the Djibouti International Free Trade Zone. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, in collaboration with the Ministry of Interior and the International Organization for Migration, organized the day before yesterday the closing of the national workshop of popularization of the national strategy of engagement of the diaspora at the Kempinski Hotel. The Republic of Djibouti has a large diaspora in the world, estimated at more than 15,000 individuals, to capitalize on the benefits that this diaspora can bring to the development of their home countries. The Republic of Djibouti intends to institutionalize its engagement with the diaspora through a national diaspora engagement strategy in order to strengthen its cooperation with the diaspora and better support its actions. The government, through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, signed a framework agreement with the Global Djibouti Diaspora in September 2015. As part of the second editions of the Festival of Reading, meeting between writers and authors, Djibouti and students have started in all schools in the country. It should be said that the Festival of Reading is a school event sponsored by the First Lady of the Republic of Djibouti, which seeks to cultivate the tastes of reading and strengthen learning through the establishment of a rich and diverse activity that arouse the interests of students and encourage them to read. Dozens Djiboutian writers and authors are associated with this event, whose activity are rich in varied with the many of donations to host schools of literacy works of writers, identified animations in the center of documentations and informations by lovers of reading, librarians and teachers of each school. As part of the celebration of the International Day of Water, the National Office of the ONIAD of Djibouti organized this morning, March 21, tours of visit for the students of the Terminal S of the High School of Balbala, and to visit the various stations of drilling and of the Republic. The theme chosen for this year is groundwater, so is an opportunity for companies and enterprises in charge of the distribution of this precious liquid and most water management to highlight the progress made in these areas. During this tour, the students of Balbala High School went first to the pumping stations of Humbuli, then the students visited the borehole of Nagat, followed by Duda, and finally finished their tour with a visit to the borehole of Pika 20, Pika 12 with the head of the production department of ONIAD, Yusuf Ahmed, and the head of the research section is Ahmed Fuad, were present at this emotional day. Ms. Khadija Ali, head of the communication service of ONIAD, was also present. Regional Media Forum on Best Practices in Covering Violent Extremism, organized at Campus Key Palace by the IGAD Center of Excellence for the Prevention of Countering and Violent Extremism. The forum was chaired by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for International Cooperation, Mohammed Ali Hassan, and the Executive Secretary of IGAD, Dr. Workneh Gebeyu, and was attended by the United States Ambassador to Djibouti, Jonathan Pratt, and the European Union Ambassador to Djibouti, Aidan O'Hara. This forum brought together journalists from the from the print and television media in Djibouti and IGAD regions to prevent and combat violent extremism on social media. The media must be constantly vigilant, and such events allow them to remain on the guard. The forum was discussed the best practices and agreed on a set of principles that will help maintain professional standards to respect.
IGAD has played a historic role in East Africa and has a continued responsibility to facilitate peace, security, and stability. Despite ongoing geopolitical challenges in our region, IGAD continues to promote regional cooperation and integration. Historically, IGAD has been key in resolving national and regional security threats through conflict prevention, management and resolution, and by strengthening regional cooperation against existing and emerging threats. I know this very well from my time in Sudan, where IGAD implemented the North-South Comprehensive Peace Agreement. And IGAD, of course, has a historic role in resolving conflict between Ethiopia and Somalia. Forums like this one here today provide a common language for media practitioners across IGAD member states to counter the narratives of violent extremism.
Violent extremism is insidious, and I don't envy the role of the media in trying to navigate this issue. Journalists are often caught in the middle, under pressure from extremists to disseminate their poisonous messages and attacked by the same people if they try to resist. So regular reviews like this and opportunities to share best practice are essential if the media are to maintain the professional standards they set for themselves. Thank you therefore to IGAD and to the Centre for taking this initiative and creating this forum. The media needs to be constantly vigilant, and events such as these mean they can keep their guard up. Thanks are also due to you, the media, for taking the time to spend a few days here working on the issue. And I hope that this week you can share best practice and agree on a set of principles that allow you to maintain the professional standards you want to uphold.
Now listen to the Executive Secretary of IGAD, Workneh Gebeyu.
IGAD therefore supports the principle that journalists, media professionals are obliged to reliably report verified information in the public interest. And the public has an inalienable right to truthful, impartial, and timely information, particularly what it touches of their freedom and safety, and most importantly, their liberty. It is our firm belief, therefore, Your Excellencies, that information is the fastest way to change the world. One idea can kill more people than 1,000 bullets, but a single idea can also uplift more people than $1 billion. Terrorists have become very good at using multiple channels of communication, including social media, to spread disinformation, misinformation, fake news, and propaganda.
The Diwan Zakat Foundation has distributed the Zakat collections of the year 2021 to the beneficiaries of the Dikil region benefited from this product of their Zakat fund. 108 poor families of the city of Dakhil and various villages and sub-districts. The foundation also distributed a sponsorship to 83 orphans, including the third and fourth classes. Given the advance of the blessed month of Ramadan, Diwan Zakat also distributed to all the beneficiaries of Zakat and sponsorship distribution, as well as to the Imam and of the mosque. Gift of date. The distribution ceremony took place in the presence of the prefect of the region, Adam Musa Darar, and the president of the regional council, the general directors of the Diwan al-Zakat, Suleiman Hussein Musa, and his close collaborator. In addition, executive from the Ministry of Muslim Affairs and Waqf participate in the ceremony. The Director General of the Diwan Zakat, Suleiman Hussein Musa, conveyed in his speeches during the Zakat distribution ceremony the greetings of His Excellency the Minister of Muslim Affairs to the inhabitants of Dakhil region in the south of the country. He added, "We came to the region to distribute the proceeds of the Zakat of the past year, as well as the contributions of the orphans of sponsorship, in addition to distributing dates to the beneficiaries of the distribution, the Imams and Mizan of the regions." In the north of the country, where the major part of the rural populations of the region of Tajara is affected by the harmful effect of drought, especially in the remote sub-prefecture located at the borders with Ethiopia, in the camp located between Durra and Balho, as well as in the localities of Musa Ali and Ayla Adu sector. The consequences are palpable, especially in the last 3 months. According to the testimonies of the nomads, it has not rained for a very long time, and the hills have no pasture. In addition to the lack of grass, the animals are victims of disease. The animals have become weak and are dying in waves. However, the recurrent droughts in the Tajura regions have increased the vulnerability of the livestock, which is the main sources of the subsistences for nomadic families in areas far from decision-making administrative center. It is with great sadness that we learned that death occurred in the evening of 20 to 21 March 2021. Jama'a Subane Dirir, known as Halam Bey, born in 1956 in Holhol. The late Jama'a Subane Dirir left behind a large family, including his wife and dozens of children and grandchildren, formerly retired from the Djibouti Armed Forces and the Djiboutian Road Agency. In these painful circumstances, the general management and the entire staff of RTD addresses its most saddened condolence to the families of the deceased, in particular his son Muhtar Jama' Subane. We pray to all the Most High, the Merciful, to grant him forgiveness and to welcome him in his eternal paradise. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. For the international scene, through the voice of its president, South Africa has announced a reduction in its health restrictions. Cyril Ramaphosa detailed the measures, including the removal of outdoor masks and the negative tests for vaccinated travelers from abroad due to the changing natures of the pandemic and the progress made through our collective efforts. We intend to lift the state of national disasters as soon as the public comments on the health restrictions issued by the Minister of Health have been completed, said Cyril Ramaphosa. People who have been vaccinated or tested negative will be able to go to socio-cultural venues, but the gauges remain reduced. 48% of all adults have received at least one dose of vaccine. The president added so that we enter the third year of this pandemic with more hope than ever. At least 953 civilians have been killed in Ukraine since the launch of the Russian military operations on February 24, according to a latest count released Tuesday by the United Nations. In a statement of the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, said that at least 953 civilians have been killed and 1,557 wounded in Ukraine in the period from February 24 to March 2022. UNHCR estimated that the number of civilian deaths and injured is considerably higher. Earlier on Tuesday, Ukraine reported that 117 children had been killed and 155 injured since the launch of the Russian military operation. A statement from the offices of the Prosecutors General of Ukraine said that children in the cities of the Kyiv, Kharkiv, and Chernihiv have been most affected by the Russian military intervention. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us. Have a good evening.